そしたらまずパスオブエグザイル2の動画を見ていこうかなと。
I'm just going to show you another island, I guess.
What class is this?
This is the Warrior.
Okay.
So this is your sort of like quintessential slamming.
待ってね。
I'm just going to show you another island, I guess.
ウォリアーとハントレスのクラスに
So this is your
つい
sort of
て。
like quintessential slamming guy. And I'll show you a few of the interactions between the different.
特にね、俺ウォリアー使うつもりやからめっちゃ気になってま
Is it
す。
similar to a B
Oh.
word character?
I mean, I guess.
Bar-
I guess so. But what's an area we haven't
船
shown
乗っ
much?
て
Maybe
違
Journey's End?
うゾーンに行ったりするんや。
Let's have a look at Journey's End.
アクトの作りとかが全然
Sort of appeared on streams and things
変わ
like that.
ってるんやね。
Oh no.
まあ、確かにパスオブエグザイル1でも船に乗って移動したりはしてたから。
I guess one of the things we really want to make sure of with the Warrior is that all of our melee skills kind of have a lot of mobility. So it's kind of like a basic attack. You've got like this kind of thing. Like in PoE 1, this would be like stand and do something. In PoE 2, it involves a lot of mobility. And the other thing, of course, is the just like.
ちょっと待ってね。字幕だけ出しとこうかな。
We're talking about on the Druid is all the combo type stuff. So on the Warrior, one of the really nice combos to use is Armor Break.
コンボ
So
がある
what I
ね
can。do here is when I hit monsters with Armor Break, it breaks their armor. But then that is used
Armor break.
when you sorry, managed to run away from that guy. When you and so when you attack them when they've got their armor, obviously you're going to do a lot more damage. That's like really like the simplest level. And then the other thing that you can do is that some of the other skills that we have things that affect armor break. So they often remove armor break and do something else. So this guy has armor broken right now, and then if I use leaf slam,
今のでアーマーブレイク状態になったらしい。
there's a very high chance to do a heavy stun. Apparently, though, that didn't seem to work for that guy. So
デバフとしてアーマーブレイクっていうのがあるらしい
There
ね。
we go. And that means that you can follow up with something that's much more slow. So an example of that kind of thing is we have a thing called supercharged slam. So you gather a bunch of rocks on your weapon and slam them. So if you just use it like for a short amount of time, you get like 2 slams. But the longer you hold it down, the more rocks gather up until eventually you can do like a ridiculous number.
から、まあアーマーブレイクっていうデバフもあって、でアーマーブレイクした敵に対してはスタンがなんか入りやすくなるみたい。で、かつ今、その見せてる映像のやつは、チャージアップして、攻撃をチャージすることができて、でチャージすることで、ダメージが上がったり、範囲が広がったりするみたいだね。すごいね、これ。ロスサークとかにもこういうシステムあったけど、いや、これはね、やっぱ ARPG にとって絶対必要な、MMO でも絶対いるなと思ってるその一つで、俺がよく言う、掴むファンクション、掴むっていう敵を、掴んで行動するとか、ゲームの中で変化を、これから先 MMORPG とか ARPG どうやって変化をもたらせばいいかって言ったら、敵を捕まえて行動できるようにするとか、今までのゲームで言ったら MMO で言えば、ブレード&ソウルとか、あのゲームもいいとこまで行ってるんやけど、さすがに掴んでる間完全行動できないとか、なんかそこはちょっと違うなとは思うんやけど、掴むことと、もう一つはこのホールドすることで、ダメージが上がるとか、行動が変化する、機能が変わるっていうこと。これは WoW の新しいクラスでエボーカーっていうのが追加されて、エボーカーにもそういう機能があるんだけど、絶対これはもうこの先操作を変えるという意味で、操作を変えていくという意味では絶対必須だと思うから、めちゃめちゃ素晴らしい変化だね。
Number of slams. So you want to be able to try and stun monsters ideally to be able to get that. So getting that, getting the leap slam, and then getting the supercharged slam is a good way to kill monsters. It probably wasn't worthwhile these like kind of white monsters, but on a rare it matters a lot. The other thing you can do is sunder. So if you sunder on an armor broken enemy, so I'll just talk about sunder when you normally use it. It basically is a very slow attack that does like attacks on the line. And
これか。
it's actually most useful when you have lots of monsters because every time it hits a monster, it does a little ripple of damage. So if you use it on one monster, it's actually quite weak. But if you use it on a whole pack of monsters, then because the damage overlaps between each everything, we'll just gather a bunch here, it absolutely annihilates them. And so this is a useful interaction. But if you armor break one of the monsters, then Sunder does 500% damage to that monster. And also, it does 500% damage to all the monsters that get, like from the little wave from those monsters as well. So that means that Armor Break Sunder can be a really useful way to do that. Another one we have here is a Warcry skill, so I'm going to use Infernal Cry.
Warcry.
So Infernal Cry puts this little thing on the monsters, and then when you kill them, it causes them to explode, dealing damage to nearby monsters. So it's another kind of good pack clearer. But the other thing that it does is gives you an exerted attack, which means that your next slam skill is going to do a lot of
敵が爆発する、エクスプロードして範囲ダメージが起こる。
Get the leap slam on that monster to stun them. Although apparently once again that monster seems to be broken in this regard, which is very annoying. So I'm just going to move on. Get the leap slam on the monster, and then do the yell to get the exert, and then do the supercharged slam to get a lot of damage on them. So that kind of combo is what you'd be wanting to use.
やっぱり貯めるのめちゃくちゃいいね。ホールドするの最高やな。
Yeah, can really help. So yeah,
めちゃくちゃ面白そう。
exactly. So you've got to, I guess a philosophy you would say in PoE too is that you really have to earn your single target damage. It's not just a question of like here's a single target skill, just use it. You really have to like earn that single target by doing a combination of things. And if you do that, you'll be rewarded by getting a lot more damage in a situation like that. So yeah, that's
アニメーションそのモーションとかもすごいよくできてるね。
The warrior, got 2 classes for each of the combinations, and yeah, hopefully that's very interesting. One of the things that I like the most is Huntress is a skill called Whirling Slash. So the design of this is basically, this is just a little town area, so I can just practice here without any monsters attacking me. But when you use this, it creates this little like whirling storm around you, and the more you use it, the larger the storm gets. And when you exit the storm,
このワーリングのエフェクトが一回使うと周りに出て何回も使うとさらに巨大化していく。置き型のスキルやね、これ設置型のスキルやね。
But there's actually more things you can use. For example, if I use this here, I've got a skill here which like makes your character run like.
オーリアほどのそのなんかインパクトあるスキルではないけど。
Like do like a slash back, and which also traps monsters. So you want to kind of like whirling slash, and then get out of there with that one. And then once you're out of there, then you can start throwing your spears from range.
ワーリングスラッシュで後ろにバックステップできるっぽいね。
The spear field. So when you use this, probably not that useful against zombies because they move so slowly anyway. But you create a field of spears and they slow down monsters.
Spear field っていうので、
fast monsters around, then that's a really handy
置き型スキルかな。
And then the other one that's kind of useful is puncture. So puncture can be useful for moving from one pack to the other. If I make this thing here, well, there's no other monsters nearby, so that's unfortunate. But effectively, it's a skill that lets you teleport towards monsters like this. And the further away you are when you use it, the more that you're going to bleed. The more that you're going to bleed them. So it can be quite handy to use, depending on the situation. So maybe if I'll sort of do this. So I'm going to create a whirling slash here. I'm going to go out of there, that traps them in, but I can go back in with the puncture to bleed, and then follow up with my like more single target rapid assault skill, which has a nice ending damage thing there. So
パンクチャーっていうのでブリードを乗せることできるらしいね。
And then I can pre-prepare my whirling slash before he arrives. And then maybe like get the mech like this.
結構なんかクリエイティブなクラスかもね。置いて、まあ、例えばバックダッシュしてまた戻るとか。
But the skill ceiling for PoE2 can be quite a lot higher because of the fact there's a lot more of the sort of action combat stuff.
スキルセーリングっていうのは、
so we only put like a few skills in there, and this is also Act 2, so you don't have that many more.
プレイヤーのそのプレイの仕方で質が上がる。スキルのそのマックス一番上手くなるそのレベルっていうのはかなり高い。
Elemental spear attacks, like we've got a lot of different throws. But this class, what it's kind of really about is sort of going into and out of combat a lot.
エレメンタルなんかライトニングが乗ってるねこれ。
jump out like this kind of thing, you know, like and then you've got stuff that you can do from range, you've got stuff you can do from close.
多分サポート乗せたの
It's really
か
about
な。
exploring that, you know, that sort of in and out kind of thing that it's got going on. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing that Huntress is about.
素晴らしかった。いや特にやっぱウォーリアーの変化かなりでかいね。レベル45、さっき多分アクトの感じだとレベル45ぐらいやったから、まあ、半分ぐらいと考えて、半分ぐらいでこのぐらいのゲームスピードやから、もしかすると本当エンドゲームになっても、今俺ちょっとそのポエ2で、まあ、POE2 でその変わるゲームスピードに関してもちょっと動画の中で作ったりしてるんやけど、なんかまあ相当遅そうだね。完全エンドゲームでもうマックスまで突き詰めても貯める動作がある、貯める動作が速くなるっていうことを考えたとしても絶対スピードとしてはそんな速くならないだろうから、本当にあれかもね、なんていうか戦術的っていうか、まあソウルシリーズソウルライクな感じになるっぽいね。まあ、俺は全然そっちの方が好きやから楽しみではあるけど、1のズームのすごいスピードが好きな人にとっては微妙かもしれないね。でもう一個ドルイドもあって、ちょっとドルイドの方はね、なんだろうな、もっとねこうよりクリエイティブっていうか、まあ、まさにハイブリッドって感じで。
Basically, here we have 5 different characters that we're showing.
これキャラクターセレクト画面や。
These top 4 we were showing at ExileCon
いい感じやね。
when we had it a few weeks ago. This last one here is the Druid, which is the one that we're mostly sort of showing as the new character for gamescom.
レベル45やね。やっぱちょうど半分ぐらいやな。
I guess one of the sort of primary things we
だから
want to get across to people is the sort of different combinations between skills. This is like an instruction sheet that
説明も初めに
used for, you know, in the
出て
consumer
く
booth,
る
so
ん
you
や。
can sort of know what you're doing. But I'm just going to go to one of the islands here.
もしかするとこれはテストプレイバージョンなのかもね。
Great. I'm very
So
excited.
in Act 4, you have a boat and you sort of can go to whatever of the different islands you want. They have all different like little stories that you can find out about. And in the demo, we've got a few of them. There's more than just these ones, but this is what we'll do for the time being. So this is the Isle of Kin, which is an area that is a sort of like volcanic island with a whole bunch of goblins on it. And as we get here, we can show it off. So this being the Druid, it's kind of a hybrid spellcaster. So you've got both spells, and you also have a bear form. Well, in fact, more than a bear form. You have other different
そうで
animal
ね、
forms.
ベアフォームがあっ
The
て
thing people often hear for
めっ
is
ちゃリアルなんだよな。ベアフォームとウルフフォームが確かあるんですよね。
You can, you know, obviously run around. Using spells is also sort of important, and what we want to really do is make it easy for you to go from sort of spellcasting mode to bear mode very quickly. So what I can do here is slam down. When you use your bear form, sorry, when you use a bear skill, you immediately just when you use a bear skill, you turn into a bear and you do the skill. When you use a spell, you sort of automatically transform and use the spell. So there's no like sort of
スペルを使うとヒューマンフォームに勝手になって、ベアフォームのスキルを使うと勝手にベアフォームになる。そこの行き来は要するにシームレスで動けるってことだね。間になんか変更のドルイドフォームボタンとかはあるわけではなさそう。
You know, like use some spells, do what you're doing there, then turn into a bear, and then do that too.
ちょっと待って。
What's happening there when he transforms? Is his material form is just becoming a bloody pulp?
Something like that. Yeah, you can also when you dodge roll, you can instantly transform back into your character. You can even do it mid-transform if you want. So at any time, you can just kind of abort what you're doing and do it. And it's really important because in PoE, we really want to make sure that anytime you're feeling threatened, you can always just dodge roll to get out of there, and you're never interrupted from doing that.
And just what's the cooldown timer on your dodges?
No cooldown. You can just do it.
Okay,
as long as you want. So just hold the button down.
I knew that.
Yeah. Hold the button down and roll away to your heart's content. There's actually, originally when we made the bear, we made it so that you could dodge roll as a bear, and the animation was so fun that we decided to keep it, but just in town. So when you're in town, you can you can do your roll as a bear. Yeah, it was so funny, but we're like we don't have anything.
タウンではベアのままどっちロールできるらしいね。
So anyway,
可愛すぎる。
right. Let's do an abridged version of what I do in that demo room here. So effectively, what we want to make sure, as I said, is that all the skills can be used together. So this slam here causes you to stun enemies, and I've got another skill here that does a roar. And if there's any
スラムをすることで
gives you what's called
敵
an
が
exerted
スタン
attack
して
down here. And exerted attacks mean that when you do another slam, it gets doubled. So you see here, I got 2 slams out of that. So just to show you that again, it's slam, and then I do the roar, and then any other skill I use, including this like rampage skill here, which does like a lot of slams. I can do like a huge amount of damage. So normally when I cast this, I just get like slam. But if I stun people, get the exert. Sorry.
ね、左上になんかバッフが表示されてるんやけど、
Then when I'm doing it, it's slam. Like it's doubling
この
another.
走り回ってスラムするやつはなんかレイかなバフを消費して多分使えて
emits more projectiles every time a slam goes off near it, which is quite fun. And of course, if I use rampage and then rampage around the volcano, I'm getting a lot of slams. And then even more than that, if I do the exert combo, get the exerted attack, cast a volcano, and then do a rampage, now I'm getting an absolute crap ton of projectile.
これあれだね、ボルケの火のマグマみたいなのが出てくるやつはボルケーノを置いて、でこのスラムを打つとボルケーノが多分置いただけでも発動はするんだけど、スラムを打つとかなり激しく出てくる、つまりコンボとして使えるみたいだね。素晴らしいね、すごいねそれ。ということはそういうちょっとクリエイティブなスキルが割とあるのかな。だから今のでいくと普通のスラムをして多分なんかウォークライみたいなやつでレイジを貯めて、でボルケーノを置いてランページで走り回って爆発させるみたいなことができるっぽい。
Which annihilates bosses very easily. So this kind of thing, once again, we just really want to make sure that you get the feeling that you can use lots of skills, because in PoE 1 it was very common that you just
さっきのハントレスもそうだけど、設置型とそのアクティブなスキルの組み合わせがめちゃめちゃ有効にできる。ウルフも出せるんや。
Useful because the Druid, being a hybrid, is not necessarily the most tanky character ever. Even though you can turn into a bear, you're still you're not wearing a suit of armor, like a warrior would be. So
クマがウルフ連れてるってどうなんやろ。でもすごい面白そうだね。もうなんかこれ説明聞いてるだけでも面白そうだわ。
I don't have on this version of the character because that's in the demo version. This one's designed for the players to play, and normally you get that as a quest reward a little bit later. So I can't quite show you that. But I've got a tornado skill that will suck monsters in. It's another sort of tactical option on the battlefield. So go on.
What's happening on your health bar there? It looks like you're building up a shield. What ability is triggering?
So all intelligence characters, that is to say, any armor you're wearing for intelligence characters has energy shield. So that's just a
like
sort of standard. It's just a thing that you have. So if I don't take damage for a while, then I get Halo style energy shield building up there. So anyway, right. So that's like a few of those interactions.
エナジーシールドは1でもあったけど、インテリジェンス持ってるクラスなら誰でも持つ、というか多分インテリジェンス持ってるクラスなら全部持ってて、でダメージを受けると減るんだけど、ダメージを一定時間受けなかったら自動で回復する。
But I guess another thing that is really nice to have in PoE, this being a game a lot about having interesting interactions.
なんかもう本当に PoE1 とはもう違うゲームやな、完全に。やってることは一緒だけど、中身のその本当に根本の構成っていうのは全然違う。このボルケーノもボタンのホールド、つまり長押しすることで効果が変わる。長押しするとよく出る多分火山というか噴火が強くなるみたいな。ラストワイルチャネリング。もしかしてこれもしかするとボルケーノ使うとああなるほどなるほど。まあこれは PoE でもあったけど、今サポートスキルのPoE2 は1の時はアクティブスキルに対してサポートスキルサポートアクティブジェムに対してサポートジェムを載せるっていう仕様だったんだけど、 PoE2 になってからサポートジェムそのものにアクティブジェムを載せれるようになったんですよね。これかなり大きな変更で、なんだろう、今までは一つのそのアビリティに対して載せてたんだけど、もっとなんだろうな、広がりを持つようなビルドが作りやすくなっていってて、で今何をしたかっていうと、チャネリング、要するにさっき言ってたボタン長押しとかでチャネリングしてる間に、同時にキャストするアクティブなジェムを今このライトニングのやつをはめて、そうするとボルケーノの、チャネリングをしてるとライトニングも発動する条件が整って、で発動させると両方が出るっていう。めちゃめちゃクリエイティブやね。めっちゃ面白いね。でしかもそれに対してまたスラム打つとこうやって発動するっていう。難しいっちゃ難しい。まあでもこれは面白いね。ああ、ベアの時でも出るんや。
It's actually a bit annoying that it triggers the lightning storm as well, because I'd rather have my little death zone that I'm trying to do. And so that's why it's kind of useful that in PoE, any buff that you have, you can choose which weapon sets that you want to have that enabled for. So if I turn this off as a bear, I'm going to get my spirit back and disable the buff.
すごい。今回武器のセットによってパッシブを変えたりとかもできるんだけど、アクティブのそのジェムに対しての武器も、どれでアクティブになるかって選べるから、今ベアフォームじゃそのライトニングストーンが起こらないようにしたから、ベアフォームになっても多分もう起こらないですね。
Now, if I change to a human, the buff goes straight back on automatically. Change back to a bear,
ベアフォームになる。
So any buff you can just choose, like, do I want this to apply? Do I not want this to apply? And then the spirit that I'm reserving
素晴らしいね。面白。
Yeah, that helps for clarity when you're like planning out your abilities or attacks.
Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is, because I want to automate more things.
多分45だからまだまだ。
I'm going to put that in here, and then I get the summon wolf ability that I have, and I'm going to put
キャストオンメレーとかもあるんだ。
That means that if I stun enough enemies,
だからメレー攻撃すると多分ウルフが出る。
Which is really nice, because now I don't have to remember to cast my minions all the time. It just kind of happens automatically. And when the wolves first come out, they also do a howl, which causes them to do a crit debuff on monsters. So when I'm going to stun some guys, that wasn't quite enough charge, so I'll set 76% up the top there. There we go. So now I've got a wolf cast automatically. And now as I'm just going through, I'm just getting my wolf summoned without having to do anything.
とてつもなくクリエイティブなものが作れるのでは。
It's especially good to use it on
これビルド作るの面白いけどめっちゃ大変やな。
That means I'm about to, I can use my exert, sorry, I put that on the wrong keybind. I think some rampage, where's the war cry? There it is, sorry, just wrong.
8スロットじゃとても足りないな、多分。現実的に多分12とかないと辛いんちゃうかな。
No, I did, I just didn't notice. Okay, right, so do that again. Get my stun, get a wolf. And now that I've got that, I can do my
スタンが出るとウルフが出る。
with the roar, which I once again failed to do the timing right, because I'm in a bit of a funny setting here. Do the roar, and then I can get the rampage. And
素晴らしいね。
while I'm doing that, all the monsters nearby are getting that crit debuff on them. So it's kind of a way to get like more for less, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so that's like a quick introduction to some Druid skills here. But I can also go and let me just find the boss for this area, and we'll see if we can utilize all of those elements. I'll just get some rage, which I need to be able to do my rampage a little bit further. And we'll rampage over to where the boss is.
やっぱなんかそのゲームのそのペースってことで言うとやっぱ遅いけど、なんていうかやっぱりスキルで動くようなものが多いからあんまりそのスピードの遅さは感じないかもね。まあもともと俺そういう方そのタイプの方が好きだからっていうのはあるけど人によってだいぶ感じ方が違いそうやな。
So here I want to get the you can see like utilizing all these different attacks here.
ダメージ DPS 高いな。
Actually melt the boss exactly because I'm getting that the volcano is actually even better. We'll have to run away from that though. It's even better against large monsters because the projectiles hit because the area that the boss takes up is larger. More of the projectiles of the volcano are going to hit the boss. So that means that it's actually very advantageous. Oh no, get away from that, get away from that. Okay. Yeah. It's very advantageous to be able to use volcano against a boss like this.
You gotta focus up, don't worry.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. Alright, so
Your potion.
yeah.
That's
yes,
all I
that's
do.
what, yeah, sorry. Alright. Oh shit. Okay, yeah. Okay, right, there we go. Now I need to stun him. Okay, there we go. Got the stun, get the exert, get the rampage. That's what I need to do. He's in the wrong place though.
面白いね。
Okay, no, he's alright. He's moving into it. He's moving into it. There we go.
Nice.
There we go. Alright, so there we go. Alright. Oh wait, no,
ボス戦だけでもめちゃくちゃ面白そうだもんな。やっぱほんまソウルライクのニュアンスをすごく感じるね。
I can probably just slam. Yeah, I can probably just slam. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. So, yeah, that's the Druid.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you show me a little bit more about the loot?
There's probably not like a huge amount to talk about there at the moment. I mean, it's very similar to Path of Exile 1 in that regard.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of changes under the hood. But I guess one thing that we do want to make sure of is that in PoE 1, we had a problem with like way too many white items on the ground, this kind of stuff. In PoE 2, we really want to improve the loot. There's a few different ways we're addressing that. One of them is gold, which we added. Another one though is that the effect of what's it called item rarity does a lot more now. So that what that means is that bosses are much likely to get drop better items rather than more items, which is
そのアイテムドロップの形っていうのもなんか変わってるらしくて、まあ PoE1 やってる人はわかるけど、まあルートフィルターっていうのがないととてもじゃないけどプレイできないんですよね。まあ、ホワイトはいらない、全くいらないホワイトのアイテムが落ちまくったりとかで、まあ基本プレイのその流れとして、まあどんどんトラッシュを潰していって、ドロップした中でいいものだけを拾い集めて、まあ街に戻って収集してまた戻ってっていうそれのサイクルなんだけど、PoE2 では、まあ、今の言ってるあんまりはっきり言ってくれてないけど、多分例えばボスが落とすアイテムとかもレアリティが高いものは落ちるけど、そのホワイトアイテムとかそういうレアリティの低いものはあんまり落ちないらしい。つまり無駄なアイテムは多分少なくなってんのかもね。今までよりももうちょっとこう無駄なアイテムを減らして扱いやすくしてるのかもしれない。あとは多分デフォルトのルートフィルターあるんじゃないかな。結構優秀なやつ。そんな気もするね。でゴールドに関しても今のこのインベントリーの、画面で見てもわかるけど、まあ、5000までスタックするっぽいけど、これもまだね使い道がはっきりしてなくて、まあなんかギャンブルで使うとかいろいろ言われてるんやけど、どうなるんやろうね。
A better thing for the player means you don't have as much spam everywhere. So yeah, this particular boss dropped an attribute gaining quest item, so I can use that and get some attributes.
なるほどなるほど。
That's a reason to do one of these side bosses.
PoE1 だとだいたいパッシブスキルのクエストっていうのがレベルが上がってパッシブスキルが手に入るっていうのがまあ基本なんだけど、ボスを倒すとかなんかクエストをこなすことでアディショナルなこうパッシブスキルっていうのがもらえて、それを振ることができるんやけど、どうもね今までの動画とかいろいろ見てる限りだと PoE2 はボスを倒すと、まあクエストアイテムみたいな形でドロップしてそれを拾うと 今表示されてるけど、まあこのデフォルトのそのステータス、オールアトリビューツがプラス5されるとか、スピリットがプラスされるとか、多分アクトを全部クリアしてボスを倒しきると、マックスの状態になるのかな。ちょっとまあはっきりしないけど、多分そうなってく気がするな。クエストじゃなくてボス倒すっていう方向性なのかもね。あ、ここまでかな。素晴らしかったわ。めちゃめちゃよくできてる。これは面白そうだね。マジで。ディアブロ4がちょっと霞んじゃうレベルですごいな。まあ、そうね。2024年の6月にクローズドベータが来るんで、まあちょっとそれを、1年後やけど、まあその時には必ずやれたらいいっすね。まあとりあえず、POE2 はここまでで、